Okay, Aparna, welcome to Soul Story with Hamza. It's a big milestone for us. We've moved out from our home studio to finally shooting professionally, so it's a big deal. And thank you so much for sharing this milestone with us. So the idea of Soul Story came about when I was traveling, meeting healers, spiritual coaches, and something that's super important to me personally because of the journey healers have had in my life is to sort of bring that message out, bring their message to the world, their healing to the world, and sort of share that with everyone. And that's the entire premise of the podcast. Now, for the people who don't know, me and Aparna, I think, met at a workshop only, something similar to that. And sound healing is something I've been doing before, but that journey with you was again very transformational for me. And I remember these like memories are etched in your memory. So you remember and then you keep on, coming back to it. So this when he thought that we want to get who's the first healer gonna be who we're gonna get, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna reach out to Aparna for it. That's amazing. To cover a little bit about you and share with the audience, obviously you're a sound healer and practitioner. Also, you have a big background in music. I've read everything about you, but I always prefer like a guest represents themselves. So maybe you can start by sharing a little bit about your journey, how you got into it from Reiki to sound healing. A little bit about that.
Well, thank you, Hamza. It's very sweet of you to think of me as your guest. And congratulations on your
Thank you so
milestone.
much. Thank you.
So, my journey, as far as I can remember, I've always been into sound. Like, I remember being handed down a very old Yamaha synthesizer when I was around like 7 or 8 years old. And I was very shy. I used to be an introvert, like so shy that you can't imagine.
Okay.
Like I would not open my mouth. So instead of, like going out and playing with the other kids, my friends, I would just prefer to be at home and just, plonk around on my
Got it.
synthesizer.
Got
Like
it.
it had all those LFOs and, oscillators and all those
Understood.
frequency shifters and all those things. And I used to just play around with that. Like, and even at that age, I feel I was so curious. I really like, I think I got into like how the sound made me feel, how when I shifted the resonance and how, what kind of a difference I felt.
Understood. Hmm.
So from a very young age, I kind of knew what sound did to me. And I've always wanted to sing.
Okay.
But because I was very shy, I would only sing in my bedroom or the bathroom.
That's me as well.
And
So yeah.
yeah, it's so many of us
Yeah.
actually.
Hmm.
And when I was 12, I moved to the US.
Okay.
I was in eighth grade then. So I had a bit of a culture shock because, the kids there are so big and they're so mature. And it was
Yeah.
a whole different world. Like,
I
even
can
though I had
imagine. Hmm.
read comics and books and so many things, like, nothing prepares you for, that kind of a
Yeah.
culture shock at that age. And so I think that got me deeper into my shell. And so I went more into music and sound. And I would just like, my mom would complain actually, like, I always had my headphones on and I'd be zoning out
Okay.
to
Okay.
music. So, but when I was 12, I picked up the violin. So I loved playing in my school orchestra. And, being an Indian, my parents were like, oh, you should start learning Carnatic violin also. I used to play Western in the school. And so I thought, okay, I do love Carnatic music. I've grown up listening to, M.S. Subbulakshmi's Hanuman Chalisa and all those things. So I was like, okay, fine. And then that went on for a few years. I continued to play in my high school through 12th grade. And I was also continuing to learn Carnatic. And whenever we visited India, I had different teachers, who would teach me different things. But once I started college, that kind of took a back seat. And so music kind of took a back seat, even though I was very interested. I think sometime around that time, though, I got into electronic music.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, I want to be a DJ. I want to
Quite a
be an
transition though
electronic.
from here to there,
Yeah.
no? Hmm.
'Cause that's when I started listening to a lot of Massive Attack and Radiohead and all those,
Yeah.
amazing artists. And I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. I really wanted to like apply to NYU or Berkeley. But again, because of my personality, because I had so much of fear
Mm.
in me, like I think that kind of held me back.
Okay.
And so I ended up taking a very different path. I ended up doing a bachelor's in finance, which is so different from music. And then a few years down the line,
Mm.
I got married, and then I was in India at that time.
Okay.
We had moved back to India around 2008. So then, after I got married, I went back to the US. I lived in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, my interest in music peaked. So I was, looking around everywhere to see, in what programs I can enroll myself in, what I could, if I could take part in any community
Mm.
events. So there is this college called Manus Music,
Okay.
Manus School of Music, and I took part in their community orchestra. I started playing the violin again, and both Carnatic and Western again. And somehow at that time I was on a visa, so I couldn't
Mm.
work. But I did everything to just surround myself with music, in any way possible. And I had been attuned to Reiki when I was 12, because that
Okay.
was something my parents decided to put me in because they thought maybe that could help me come out of my introversion, shyness.
Okay. That
It
was the
could,
reason that you got into it. Now
yeah,
I
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Okay.
So although it didn't help at that time,
Mm-hmm.
at least not in the way they expected, but because I was a Reiki master,
Mm-hmm.
um, as soon as I got my work permit, I started practicing Reiki. I was already practicing it on friends and family.
So, like, at what age did you actually like learn and like truly start practicing Reiki?
I was 12. This was before, sorry, I was probably 10. This was
Wow.
before I moved to the US.
So then the journey of learning it started when?
Yes,
Way
so
earlier,
I,
right? I assume.
way early, yes. I remember my friends were all like looking at me like I'm some kind of a weirdo,
Yeah, I
I
can,
I knew
I can
about chakras
understand.
and everything at the age of 10. And
That's amazing. That's amazing. Very few kids who are kind of like there, at this age, and I
yeah.
can assume that. And when you say, they must be thinking like, who's this weird person? I can figure out why now. But okay,
Yeah.
so you started earlier. Then at 10, you started practicing. From there, then
Yeah,
after
yeah.
that, what happened?
So after that, after what, when I was like 28, 29.
Mm-hmm.
So after so many years, I decided, okay, this is something I can take up professionally.
Okay.
So then I started getting clients. I started advertising myself, putting my stuff out on Instagram, and I started getting clients. I think in my own terms, I think I became quite successful,
Mm-hmm.
and I was regularly getting clients. And what happened around that time, I was also very much into doing my own inner work also. So I was myself attending a lot of yoga classes and Kundalini yoga and
Lovely.
a lot of
Mm. Mm.
meditation and pranayam workshops. And that's when I actually got into sound healing as a modality.
Mm.
And I remember attending my first session in New York and I was like blown away. And see, the thing in the West is I think most sound healers have some kind of a musical background.
Okay.
So the way they approach a singing bowl
Mm.
or any instrument was very musical, you know.
Understood.
So I really resonated with that. I was
Okay.
like, oh, this is, somewhere close to something I've always wanted to pursue.
Musical in terms of, just sorry to cut you there, but in terms of musical, you mean are they including singing in their practice, like in their sessions, or?
Yeah, so there
Oh,
there
wow.
used to be singing, there used to be drumming, and they used to play the bowls in a way that was very harmonic to listen to. Of course, there is a concept called dissonance also in
Mm.
sound healing, but
Mm.
they would also use crystal bowls, which are very musical in nature, which we will maybe talk
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
later. So I really resonated with their style of sound healing, and yes, I have attended sound baths of therapists who are amazing instrumentalists. So they play the
Mm-hmm.
flute and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of things like that. So I loved it. I just fell in love. I was like, oh my god, this is my calling. And then what I started doing is after my Reiki sessions, I started collecting these bowls one by one. And I would do my Reiki for about 45 minutes. And then for 15 minutes, I would just include a little bit of, I taught myself how to play the bowls.
Okay.
And then I would, include that for a bit. And then my clients would say, oh, I just love what you're doing at the end with the bowls.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, okay, this is it. Now I know what I'm here for, what I'm meant to do. And then I started delving deeper into the actual study of sound, the scientific principles behind how sound
Mm-hmm.
works and what is it about it that makes it so effective. So then I took a 1 year diploma course that was this was a hybrid course. It was part workshop and part online. I started with that. And then at the end of 2018, both my husband and I decided that, we just had to move back to India. It was, I guess it was some kind of intuition
Mm-hmm.
that came to me that felt that this was the right time to move back and
Got it.
be closer to parents. And, in retrospect, I am so glad I did. I made that decision because,
Mm.
then COVID happened 2 years
Yeah.
later, and I was like, thank God I'm close to my parents. Like I was able to kind of be there
Yeah.
for them. And so, yeah, so the beginning of 2019, then I started just, reaching out to studios, emailing everyone I could, and just finding studios where I could have my sessions. And that's how I started in Mumbai.
Wow. I think the greater calling maybe was that to come to Mumbai and start doing your sessions, because now I guess like every weekend you're packed with sessions is what I see. So that's beautiful. And to all the people who never been to Aparna's workshops, like I feel like till now, whoever I've gone to for sound healing, and I've done it multiple times, I've also done it internationally. One of the most profound experiences, because again I think it's your background in music and stuff that comes to play. So if you ever get a chance, a person as the person, okay. Going back a little to my first experience doing it, so I had done it with another facilitator, and the concept about it, that when she introduced it, I had no background. So she spoke about how your body is like 65% water, and how sound travels in it, and the reason, so maybe right now we can take the opportunity to you actually showing the instrument, how it works, and what is the science, a little bit of the science behind it, so the viewers can understand, what they get into when they actually go for a session. So you can take it away then with that.
Okay.
Hmm.
So, what I have here is
Hmm.
a quartz crystal bowl.
Okay.
This is tuned to a certain note or a frequency. I'm just gonna play it for some time. Just close your eyes
Done.
and just take a moment to get comfortable and just deepen your breath. And as you immerse in the sound, just allow any thoughts, feelings, or even any physical sensations to just come and go as they please. And try not to judge yourself, try not to analyze anything.
Wow, Zen mode. Suddenly the studio went soft. But yeah, that was lovely. And after that, was the crystal there behind? Is that a
Yeah,
crystal?
I'll show
Yeah,
that to you.
sort of like
So
we did like a guided meditation, mini guided meditation
yeah,
for the
it was so
podcast.
short. I don't know, was it 2 minutes?
No, it was really good.
So these are called tuning forks. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure you've seen these in
Yeah,
your
I have.
science experiments. So basically, these are called body tuners,
Mm-hmm.
and this is the C and the G note. So it is said in sound healing that this this combination of notes, the C and the G, is called the perfect fifth, and it is the most harmonious sound that exists in the entire universe. So I'm not sure how well the mic can catch the sound.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, what you do is the way I use this is I go around my clients and just sort of play it around their
Yeah,
ears.
yeah.
So then you can hear the C and the G.
Mm.
And it helps in just instantly calming you down. And, it's very helpful when during my sessions, as people are just coming in and settling down, they may be in a kind of a
Yeah.
stressful mood, dealing with traffic and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as they come in, I this sort of helps ground them and get them into that calm zone before I start my session.
Got it.
So and
Lovely.
this crystal is basically I use this when I want to play them as separate notes. So I just
Ah.
wave it around. It helps to clear the aura, clear the space.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
it's a
now
very
this sound
useful
sounds
tool.
familiar to my ears. First, I was wondering what's the sound, the tuning fork sound, because it's been a while since my last session, and now
Yeah.
it's back. Lovely. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I just want to cover a couple of questions regarding sound healing in general in India. Something that I see is because of wellness studios and stuff coming up, even sound healing is becoming a practice that I get to see every weekend. It's happening at a new spot. I want to understand, why is it that, obviously because the studios are coming and they have a space now, but apart from that, why do you think it's gaining so much momentum in like recent times? And like as we see, sound healing is getting like it's growing, as we speak. So what do you think is like the movement behind that?
Yeah. First of all, I think it's the simplicity of the modality itself
Hmm.
and how useful and how effective it has been proven by scientific studies. And even though it is such an ancient concept, we have a lot more access now because of technology, because of Instagram, Facebook, or social media, what have you. And also, I think these days people are also more open, more aware about things. They're more open to try new things and do anything that can help them. And I guess also it's, everything is trend based also
Yeah,
these days.
yeah.
So just because, like your friend might have attended a cool session. So, they'll come and tell you, oh, I attended this, this fabulous sound bath session. You should go try it.
Yeah,
So it's also a little bit about that, it's
yeah, I
kind of,
guess trend has a huge role to play. I have so many people around me now getting certified in it, and I'm like, what is this calling that you have? Like 3 4 friends just going for sessions, coming back being like, maybe this is my calling. And if it's happening in one or maybe 2 sessions, it's super powerful.
yeah.
So that's amazing. I want to go on to ask you, for the people who never tried it before, who are thinking about going for their first session, if you could maybe share a little story about something very transformational that you've seen for someone happen, or maybe give them like a 60-second overview of what they could possibly experience for the first time when they go for it. It could be a funny story about a transformation, whatever you think pops up in your head when you speak about transformation through sound healing.
Transformation is a big
Big
word.
word. Yeah, that's true.
And as you might have heard it in the healing industry, it's not something that happens overnight.
Overnight, for sure.
Of course, what you can experience in one day is deep relaxation. And for a lot of us, that's good enough, right? Because of the day and age we live in, where we are constantly bombarded by news and stuff that's happening around is so negative, and we have so many more stressors these days.
Yeah.
It has become so much important to just relax. And I think the most important transformation actually comes from something very simple as sleep. So a lot of the times, my clients will come and tell me that, Aparna, I had the best sleep of my entire life that night.
Yeah.
And I wish I could listen to your sound bath every day so I can sleep like that.
I think these are the people who then go on Spotify and try to find a
Yeah.
playlist before they sleep.
And that's why I've also started creating tracks for
Okay, beautiful.
Spotify. So just to make it more accessible, for someone who can't attend my session or pay whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
But I think that's just amazing to hear, because if you can sleep well, that actually solves a lot of your problems. Just being able to sleep,
yeah,
your body is more refreshed, your mind it feels lighter and refreshed the next day. You're able to function better. It helps you in recovery from doing a difficult workout. It helps with your muscles. It helps you recover from any injury or surgery that you've had. So many different things, even cancer. Although I would say that it can't be used, sound healing can't be the only thing used for cancer treatment, but it helps as a
pure.
complementary therapy. And it helps with pain, it helps with pain relief. So I think, I've heard even stories of people who have come out of a coma from
Wow.
sound healing.
Yeah.
Like, I myself have had clients who, were in a coma, and I've tried doing sound healing for them. But what happens, Hamza, as I said, any kind of healing or transformation takes a lot of time. So with something like coma, which shouldn't be taken lightly, like you can do a few sessions, you can do sessions for a few months, the whole year, but it takes time. But it could happen. And a lot of times people don't have the patience.
Correct.
Everyone is
I
looking for
agree.
a shortcut. And for a serious ailment, I would say don't just rely on sound healing. It's not a miracle.
Yeah, of course.
Please go to your doctor. If it's cancer, please see your doctor first. And then use this as a complementary therapy. It helps with so many other things like pain relief. It helps you release the stress, and helps you just deal with the trauma that comes with
Yeah.
something like cancer. So
Got it. Yeah, I can surely vouch for that. My experiences have been similar as you described. Like for me, I'm more of a movement based person. So all the somatic therapy and all the usually like ecstatic dance and stuff like that that I really, really love. Sound healing for sure, I think will help you in that journey when used on the side with your treatment. I think you're absolutely right there. Okay, I want to transition a little bit into this aspect that has become very popular for me personally, and therefore I selfishly want to put it in every podcast. Is that the industry of healers? When it comes to I talk to a lot of healers on a day-to-day basis. This is like tantra coaches, Reiki coaches, sound healers, people doing like NLP. So I'm like surrounded by them, and I always have this conversation around their mindset regarding growing their practice. And it as a business, because at the end of the day I always believe like as a healer you got to also focus on that aspect of being abundant in your life while growing your business. Whenever like I get healers who come and tell me no, it's like just about my practice, at the back of my head I'm like, okay, you got to think about that when you actually want to scale, because you'll do a disservice if you don't charge the right prices, if you don't, because then people even won't see the value. So this is a constant conversation. I wanted to bring it to the sound healing industry in general. So like when you started, as you must be doing a lot of one-on-one, right? And then eventually when you thought, okay, I want to go full-time, I want to understand like the process you followed to scale, the practice and actually go full-time into it. Because again, a lot of people I talk to are in their job or in something else, and they're doing it part-time over the weekends and want to go full-time into it. So what would you like recommend to say to beginners, who are in the industry, want to like scale their practice?
so this has been personally a challenge for me as well.
Okay.
And I would like to say that, any practitioner, whether it's a yoga teacher or any kind of modality
Yeah.
you teach
Yeah.
or offer as your service does take time.
Mm.
So there's nothing wrong in, starting slow, looking at smaller venues, smaller studios, reaching to a fewer people first. And then once people start getting to know you, once they see how good you are bound to grow. There
Yeah.
is no other there's no other way about it, and if you're doing the work, if you're doing good work, people will refer you, they will recommend you, they'll vouch for you. And i I would also say, use social media. I mean, this is the day and age.
I was gonna comment to that as the next
Fortunately or
question.
unfortunately, I don't know. But use it to your advantage. I know I'm not good at it, so I'm not
I
the
think you're
best
great at it, to
person.
be honest. Like, I follow you, so I think you're great at it. I think you do it in a very authentic way, which is the number one struggle that healers have today. When you get overwhelmed doing it, then it's usually it doesn't help you, you know. So I feel like you're doing a great job at it. So I don't know why you
Thank
feel
you.
that way. I think it obviously, as you said, it takes time to grow and scale, but people are recognizing,
Yeah,
seeing it, you know.
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. And also, don't compare yourself
Mm.
to your competitors, because everybody's journey is
Yeah.
obviously different. Somebody may have started 10 years ago, so they obviously have an advantage, but you will get there. Don't worry. Just be patient. If it is something you're passionate about, then definitely you'll get there, because you will then be consistent. You will want to keep doing the service, and it will have rewards.
Perfect. When it comes to your marketing, as you mentioned, I want to ask you one thing, like in your personal experience only, this is not about trends and what's working. When do you feel like from your Instagram or from your social media, from your website, like you saw the best results for yourself? Like, what were you doing at those periods of time through it? Or what was like maybe a strategy that you were following that actually started getting you like good clients or putting the word out there? So, like, what do you think that was for you personally?
I don't really know. I think, for every person, like, it's different. Like,
Okay.
if there were one formula, I think we'd all be using it.
Yeah.
I think the best thing is just be your authentic self. Um, just be consistent, authentic, and just do the work, and just do your job without thinking about the outcome. That has been my principle for the last couple of months. It has been, as I said, a challenge for me also. Try not to think about, whether if I do this, will I get likes? Will I get views? I have tried to stop thinking about that. So just put your stuff out there, and just put it out there, and it will do its thing. Just wait and don't worry about the outcome, because the minute you start thinking about the outcome,
Doomsday.
yeah. So I have stopped doing that. I used to do that a lot. Like, if I book a session and I pay the rent or whatever, I used to think, oh, will I get these many participants? Will I at least be able to recover whatever I
Yeah,
paid
of
for the
course.
rent and all of that? And I have had times when nobody has shown up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Initial days.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. And there have been times when only one or two people have showed up. And there have also been times when it's been a full house.
Yeah.
So,
You're
these
signing
things
up for
happen.
all of it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So just have to embrace it and not worry about anything, not feel bad because on those few days nobody showed up.
Yeah.
Just trust, believe in yourself, trust the process that things will go your way once you have the right intention in place.
Yeah. I'm so glad you said that. That was not in my head, but it's actually true. Like, I think the thing that differentiates great healers from good healers is your capacity and capability to be able to provide the same benefit to the one or two people who turn up rather than the full house. And I've always seen that I've been to many sessions where I'm or someone else are the only two or three participants, and the energy I can get from the healer, are they into it or are they not into it? And it's always had a lasting impression on you, and I think that's the best practice that you can follow, as
Yeah.
you very correctly said.
Yeah, and in fact, sometimes those times where I have had fewer people, the energy has been so amazing, and whatever those two or three people took back has been like, you know, it can't be experienced, if I had 20 people in the room. So
Yeah, uh, perfect. One last question, and then obviously I want to share with people more about what you do and where they can get access to you. So, if you, as someone who's well established, I would like to say in this industry and doing sound healing for a long time now, what would be like the number one advice you would like to give to the beginners? As you also mentioned, being consistent, being calm, not worrying too much about like the Instagram stuff. But other than that, to be a great sound healer, what would you tell them could be number one thing that they could possibly focus on starting out? Because I have a lot of people around me who are going to see this podcast who are beginner sound healers, so they should hear this. So, what do you think that would be for you?
wow, that could put me into trouble, but my biggest pet peeve is that when people use gimmicky stuff for sound healing, I don't believe in that. Like, they will say that, oh, this particular frequency will heal this. Please stay
Yeah,
away
they
from
say
that.
that. Yeah.
You should never claim that anything specific can heal anything specific. There is
Disclaimer.
no cure for cancer, at
Yeah.
least yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So 525 frequency or whatever, I stay away from all of
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
So please try not to do anything gimmicky. And what else? Yeah, that's about it. And oh yes, and pick instruments that you are comfortable with, at least in the beginning, because there is a learning curve. Even though they may look very simple, for an outsider, it looks very like, oh, she's just banging some bowls randomly. I don't really think it's that
Yeah.
difficult. Anybody can do that. But some instruments, like the crystal bowls, requires a lot of practice to get the kind of finesse that you need to produce the right kind of sound. Otherwise, with the crystal bowls, it can either get too loud, or
Yeah.
you'll end up playing very soft that it won't be audible at all. So it requires some practice. And also, I've seen this in recent times where so many sound healers are picking up instruments like the handpan. I mean, I love the handpan. I love the sound of it. It is universally loved. I know there is no person on this planet that doesn't love the sound of the handpan. But that doesn't mean that, you can just pick it up and start playing it, because the handpan is a percussion instrument.
At the end of the day, true.
You need to have a good sense of rhythm. You need to have some musical sense in you to play it in a way that can be healing, that can take you to that meditative state. I've seen people actually just randomly hitting the handpan without any sense of rhythm or anything. So please stay away from instruments like the handpan, which you need to be musical. You need to be at least have a sense. You may not be a percussionist, but you need some sense of rhythm.
Got it. Got it. I think that's true. I've seen that firsthand myself. In fact, I'm guilty of it also for a while. So I have a friend back in Goa, Sina, shout out to him. So he's a Persian guy who's in Goa, who's the best percussionist I've ever met. And he knows, I think, 8 instruments. And he does ecstatic dances, plant ceremonies, and stuff like that. And he teaches in Goa, and I was always looking at his videos and I was like, I want to ये तो try करना है types, So then I have a couple of friends here who have it, and I went to their house and I tried it, and I was like, it sounds so great. And then when I recorded and went back, I was like, okay, no, I look very dumb doing it. So then I was like, I'm gonna stay away. Whenever I get the chance to learn from him when I'm traveling to Goa, that's when I'm gonna pick it up
you
again.
You should. I mean, it's an instrument like any other instrument. It takes time to learn and practice.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm not saying that nobody should pick up the handpan, but use it as an instrument properly.
Yeah, no.
Treat it with respect, and don't just randomly hammer some sounds.
Yeah, but also on the positive side of this, I also do believe like if you do have good rhythm, good understanding of music, like for example, I play the guitar, I play the ukulele, the harmonica. So when it was easier for me to sort of blend
Yeah,
into
yeah.
it,
See,
So
yeah.
like you should push yourself a little bit also to try new
Yeah,
things.
yeah. Obviously, yeah.
Perfect. Amazing. This kind of brings us to the end of this podcast, Aparna. Hopefully we could do multiple more with you. I feel like we should like maybe record more guided meditations here because it was very, very powerful, including also then your voice. So in the end, if you want to sort of give yourself a shout out, if you want, if people want to come to your sessions wherever you do them, or even your website that I very clearly know about, what they could sort of get access to, if you have any courses that you would possibly want to promote to help their healing journey, this would be the best time.
So, yeah, just go follow me on Instagram. I
Hmm.
also have a YouTube channel
Okay,
where I upload a lot of my meditative tracks. So, you can just type my name, Aparna Sundar, and you'll find lots of tracks that can help you in your journey. And yeah, I'm pretty accessible. So, if you know me, of course, you can reach out to me anytime. And if you need any kind of help with teaching or, providing a session, so
you also have your certification, right, where you can train others if they want to.
well, yes, I provide a certificate to advanced students.
Okay.
So I have basically, I collaborate with another sound healer, and we've just started this training program. So we have two levels: level one, which I did a couple of months back, and level two. And we are pretty strict that way. So we will test you, and we will ask you
That's how
to
it
do a
should be.
couple of
Yes,
sessions,
yes.
and then only give you a certificate. So
Okay, perfect, lovely. From my end, I would just say that this is a new journey that we're sort of on. We are now trying to get as many healers possible. I think for me, the last 4 months of travel, especially in Bali, have taught me to give back in a way wherein I want to use my marketing business skills to help healers scale their businesses in different ways, not just in one particular way. But secondly, most important is to bring their message out, to bring them out on a platform. Our future plans are to create bigger communities, host events here in India at a larger scale. So that's the goal. So keep listening to Soul Stories, what I would say. Also, if you're a healer who's trying to grow your business and you need some direction, some help, you could reach out to me. Both our Instagrams will be down there. And yeah, keep healing yourself, keep going on this journey, and I wish everyone all the best. Thank you.